Hey peoples! So today we're going to be making a video on where people had basically trusted their gut feeling, which basically turned out to be something sinister or something like that. Anyway, let's get to it. Let's get to it. Okay. I used to pick hitchhikers in the early 80s and early 90s. I was into Jesus and wanted to do good deeds. One day I saw two women who looked rough, hitchhiking on the side of I-295 in Jacksonville, Florida. Based on their appearance, I thought they were leaving an abusive situation or something. I pulled over to pick them up. As they walked up to my van, they exchanged creepy looks, sort of a, "Are we gonna do this?" expression. I got bad vibes and drove off right as they were reaching for my door. I felt bad later and beat myself up for it. What if they really needed help? A few days later, I saw sketches of them on the news. It was aliens, Rumornus, I'm sorry, the serial killer from the movie Monster, and her girlfriend. The guy who picked them up after I drove off was murdered and dumped in the swamp. Trust your gut. Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Anyway, on to the next story. When I was 19, I was walking alone home at midnight from a train stop and got a feeling I should pretend I was on the phone. A minute later, doing so, a car pulls up next to me on the empty road. It's four guys leering all at me. The one in the passenger starts saying things like, how about we take you for a good time? And his tone is predatory. I try to keep it cool because I want to look frightened, to encourage them that I am prey, and start telling my friend there's a group of guys in the car harassing me and describing the car. I hear the driver say to his mate something about my conversation on the phone, and then they take off. I ran home with my phone ready, sure they change their mind and come back. A couple months later, I hear in the news that in my area there was a group picking up girls and gang raping them. The description matched the car and the guys in it that followed me that night. Whoa. I had a sense after my encounter to tell my work what happened and refused to do night shift anymore unless they paid for my taxi home. I shuddered to think what may have happened if I didn't pretend to be on the phone that night. These stories are just whoa. Like, they're mind-blowing, alright? Anyway, on to the next story. Okay. Aunt married her second husband, and he just gave me the creeps. She came into the marriage with a daughter who was about 8 at the time. They were family who we would see maybe a couple times a year, and every time something about him gave me the heebies. Even as a 14-year-old boy, something felt really wrong. Fast forward to 6 to 8 years later, and we learned he molested my female cousin pretty much from the day he became her stepdad. Years of it. Aunt divorced him, but he's still around because they had additional kids together. I see him comment on Facebook posts of my cousin he molested. I'd love him to die in a slow and painful death. The sooner, the better. What? That's crazy, bro. Like, what is up with these stories? Okay, I think this is the next story. Okay. I was like 6-year-old in the backyard of my best friend / neighbor swimming in a 3-foot play pool thing. She went inside to ask for something, and right as she left, a guy in a motorcycle drove down the alley and stopped. The fence was a small chain like link fence, so he definitely saw me and stopped, and I could see him clearly. Like 20 years later, it's still so vivid. He pulled out some gloves and put them on, which is the last thing I saw him doing as I got out and ran through the garage out the front. And my house next door, terrified. He drove around the front down the street slowly, and about 10 minutes later, shot 2 kids at the park at the end of my street. Dang, these stories, bro. Like, are these... Whoa. That's crazy, man. Anyway, peoples, there's probably gonna be a part 2 to this, because I'm pretty curious for these stories. Anyways, peoples, bye, and I hope you'll have a good day. Bye, peoples.
I'll make a call in this war. I bet I kick down the door. I bet I send him to the Lord. Got a bad bitch from overseas. Got a 10 pack up in my jeans. I'm in my hand in the store.